GOP candidate Jen Kiggans spoke at a rally for Virginia event on Thursday with Governor Glenn Youngkin. She hammered President Joe Biden and congressional Democrats over the southern border, the drug crisis, and human trafficking, several hot-button issues in this election. She also slammed Biden for, quote, making our world less safe after the withdrawal from Afghanistan and the ongoing war in Ukraine. Kiggans is running in Virginia's 2nd District against incumbent Democrat Representative Elaine Luria, a key member of the January 6th committee. Current polls show the two candidates tied.
Thank you so much, gosh, Jason. Intro gets better every time. And thank you guys for being here today. It's awesome to see so many familiar faces and smiling faces. And special thank you to Brian and Teresa Mullins for hosting us today. So give those guys a round of applause for being here without us. So thank you. Gosh, we're down to 4 days to wake up. That's so exciting. So this time next week, we will have taken back our 2nd congressional district, and we will flip the U.S. House, and we will be starting to get our country back on the right track. And it's been a long road. We've been campaigning for, 20 months, I think. So we have come a long, long way, and I certainly would not be here without so many of you all and so much support and love from people who are frustrated, just like I'm frustrated. But we've run a campaign that I am so proud of. And I have to wake up in the morning of November 9th and feel good about what we've done and the work we've put in and say, we ran a great campaign. I am so proud. And I am so proud right now of the positive campaign, the factual campaign, the campaign that I want to be an example for others to follow. I feel like that's really what's wrong these days. I look at my opponent in the race she's been running. So much negativity, so much lies and misinformation. It's been frustrating to watch. But I'm proud of the work we've done. I think you should lead by example. I think it's what's wrong with politics. I think it's what's wrong with the country. So thank you guys for your help with letting me do what I wanted to do, which was to run a great and positive campaign. And we're going to see the results of that on Tuesday because people are going to come out and vote because people are tired of that same negativity like I am. Like I was in 2019 when I got off my couch for the first time and yelled at my television, and that is a very true story. Hated what I saw. I hated how we were doing politics, and gosh, we've come a long way. But when I won in 2019 in that state senate race and I showed up in Richmond, I had a front row seat to what I always call the danger and insanity of one-party political rule. And that was, we had a Democrat-controlled Senate in Richmond, we had a Democrat-controlled House, we had Ralph Northam, the governor's mansion, and we saw what was a jewelry store smash and grab, right? When those guys could come in, the Democrats could come and they could pass whatever legislation they wanted. And no matter how hard we fought in the minority, how many great speeches we made, how great we debated, we would lose on issues that I had gotten off my couch to fight for. Things like our constitutional rights, fights for life, fights for my kids' education, their curriculum, fights for our law enforcement and backing the blue, fights for keeping our taxes low, government out of our lives, and fights for how we conduct our elections. So things that I really cared about, and we lost, and I had to sit through that, and it was so frustrating that it motivated me to run for Congress this year, because it's the same fight that we're seeing up in D.C. We've got a Democrat-controlled House, we've got a Democrat-controlled Senate, we've got a Democrat in the White House. Still the same danger and insanity of that one-party progressive political rule. And people are so upset. We knock doors every day. I love knocking doors, but it's my own personal poll and listening to what people say. By far and away, they tell me the country is going in the wrong direction. And when I push them and ask them why, they'll start talking about the economy. They'll start talking about gas and grocery prices. People are now, I have a lot of friends texting me pictures in the grocery store. Hey, my oatmeal was $1.79. My oatmeal is $5.99 today. This is ridiculous. We can't continue down this path. And it's a direct result of the wasteful spending and the disastrous financial policies that have been put in place by the Biden administration, supported by the Speaker of the House, supported by my opponent, Elaine, 99% of the time. That's got to stop. And we're going to stop it next Tuesday. But, we've run this entire campaign for many months now off restoring American strength. And every time I speak about the 4 areas that are important to me and that motivate me and all of you. But restoring strength in our economy, by saying no to the trillions of dollars that they have literally spent on the most wasteful of things, $80 billion hiring 87,000 IRS agents, the money that they spend towards progressive Green New Deal policies that are harmful and hurtful for us hardworking Americans. We've got to put an end to that and restore strength in our economy, become domestic energy producers. We can do these things, but we've got to flip the House to do it. And then we need to restore strength at our border. I know Jason was just talking about just the crisis with the drug trafficking crisis, and I was able to go visit the border and with other Republican women running, and just seeing the humanitarian crisis that is occurring now, especially with women and girls who come across the border. 9 out of 10 either raped, sexually molested, or human trafficked. We've got to stop that, and the Republican women are going to get that done this year. But we've got to secure our border, restoring that strength, supporting our Border Patrol agents. So much work to be done. And then restoring strength in our communities. Same issues we ran on last year, the same issues that won with Governor Youngkin and Lieutenant Governor Sears and Jason Miyares, but restoring strength for parents and parents who want to say in their kids' education. And I've got 4 kids in school, and I saw what happened to them in COVID, and I was able to look over their shoulders and understand their curriculum. How can we continue to let parents have that voice in their kids' schools? And community safety, gosh, restoring strength in our communities. There's a lot of families out there who are suffering crime right now in our unsafe communities. We don't have the police patrol in my neighborhood like we used to. We don't have this, they don't feel like we have their backs anymore. And that's because of the legislation that we put in place on the state level. In 2021 was a rough year. We've got to do better for those guys. We need to treat our law enforcement like the heroes that they are and criminals like criminals, restoring strength for our communities. But then also restoring strength in our military. That's the most personal reason I run. And I love to talk about it every time, but you know, not only am I the daughter of a Green Beret who served in Vietnam, and my grandfather was a postalman in World War II in the Navy, and my husband was an F-18 pilot for 20 years, and I was able to fly H-46s and H-3s for 10 of the best years of my life. But now I have children who serve. I have a son who graduates in May from the Naval Academy, who finds out in 2 weeks if he gets to go to flight school or not. That was his first choice. And then I have a son who's a Navy ROTC at VMI. So my children have now chose to serve. My daughter's a senior in high school this year. She's applied to the Naval Academy and VMI, so we're waiting to see where she'll go next as well. So it's so important to my family. My whole life has been about service, and my family's life has been about service. But I think of our military now, and I think especially what's happened to our active duty military on these fixed incomes and the disastrous policies that are affecting our military families. They can't afford the gas and grocery prices. They're already eligible for things like WIC and food stamps. The small pay raise we gave them in January comes nowhere close to the rate of inflation that they're suffering through right now. We have commanders that have told me we are carpooling our enlisted sailors to work and changing their watch schedules because they can't afford to come to work by themselves. So now it's literally impacting national security and watch schedule changes because they can't afford those gas and grocery prices. We have to do better. Not only that, we remember the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I speak about it every time I talk, and those 13 servicemen and women that we killed that day with the political theater, because Joe Biden wanted to get that done on September 11th. Well, you killed those guys, and the blood of those guys is always going to be on your hands, and we're not going to let you forget that. Because those of us who have served and who have family and friends that served, we remember what you did, and you made our world less safe. We saw what happened with Russia invading Ukraine. We know that China is waiting and watching with Taiwan. We see, who watched the news this morning, we've got North Korea shooting missiles over Japan with much more frequency. Iran's out there. We've got enemies out there. You've made our world less safe and less stable. And this was we sacrificed in my family, like many of you did, to make that area of the world stable, to preserve some world peace where we could. And you took that away from us. Not only did you take that away from us, you put my kids at risk. You put my son, who's going to go fly like his parents, and my other son, and my daughter. You put my kids at risk. And they're friends, and I think of that. And so now I'm a mad mom, right? Now I'm a mom on a mission, and that's not somebody you want to mess with.
That's right.
So we're going to change that, though. And I'm running against an opponent who's had a seat at the table. She's been vice chair of the Armed Services Committee. She's been in the majority party that's controlled the purse strings for this Biden budget that she says she's bucking. Well, you haven't gotten it done, and it's time for you to be replaced. And I can't wait to do that next Tuesday. We're gonna do it together. I'm super excited because it has been a long road, but 4 days to wake up. So we're gonna get this done. But I'm here to tell you what I need from you guys, because I feel like my awesome team, we've been working for many months, but now it's your turn. Now I need you all to help me do some of the work. And the thing we need the most from you all is to go vote, right? That is by far and away what you gotta do. You gotta show up, you gotta bring your friends, you gotta bring your family. Because what's also in the news about how tight this race is, right? Every day there's another news outlet that's talking about we're neck and neck, we're 50-50, or the CNU poll had us at 45-45, 8% undecided. So if you know people who are maybe leaning the other direction or they vote both ways, go talk to them, because we need those guys. We need those independent voters. We need those Democrats who feel like they don't have a home anymore. It's going to be that tight that each and every vote is going to count this year. And if everybody shows up and votes, we win next Tuesday. So get out there and vote. We go early. Early voting is through Saturday, and then definitely next Tuesday if you missed that. But get out and vote. Whatever you guys can do just to help the last minute, share our emails, like our social media, share that, grab a yard sign, grab a magnet. There's little ways you can help. If you want a door knock phone bank, we're doing that from now until Tuesday. So, and thank you to those of you. I know so many of you guys here have already helped. So we really, really appreciate that. And then I just need you to be excited and enthusiastic, because we are going to get this done on Tuesday. So 4 days no wake up. It's going to happen. We need you to be excited and enthusiastic, because we're going to get we're going to flip this seat. We're going to fire Nancy Pelosi as speaker. Which is going to be very exciting. And then we're going to flip the U.S. House. And we're going to start to get our country back on the right track, and it's going to be a process. And you need to be a little patient. We're not going to wake up on November 9th. It's going to be a new thing. It's going to be a process. But this is step one. Actually, step one was last November when we did it in Virginia. This is one of the first steps. Is next Tuesday. So we're going to get that done together. We're going to work hard, and I can't wait to flip this district. But I want to close with a quote from my dad. And if you go back to 2019 to my first political ad I ever got to make in the state senate, I'm running in the scene, and my dad's voice is speaking, and he's still alive, and he says, "America is the greatest country on earth, and it is our duty to serve and defend her when called on to do so." And that's been my calling, and it's a tradition that I'm proud to continue in my family. I'm proud to continue in my community, but my whole life has been about service to my country as a Navy pilot, service to my family as a mom and as a Navy spouse, and service to my community as a nurse practitioner and as a state senator. And it will be the honor of a lifetime to serve you all next and to represent this district as the next congresswoman from the 2nd District. But thank you so much again for having me. I appreciate everything. Make sure you guys come to the party next Tuesday. It's going to be a great victory. And then it's a great honor today to have with us a mentor, a person who's become a friend, a person who leads by example, who I am so honored to have his support. He got it done last November, and just watching the campaign that was run last year, we are so proud of the work he's doing. It's a different day in Richmond. Our Commonwealth is absolutely getting back on the right track. I'm honored to have his help and his support, and I think he's here, but please help me welcome our governor, the 74th governor of the state of Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin.